Lamentations, chapter 1. How does the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow, she that was great among the nations, and princes among the provinces? How is she become tributary? She weeps sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. She hath none to comfort her among all her lovers. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into exile because of affliction, and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the nations. She findeth no rest. All her pursuers overtook her within the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn assembly. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she herself is in bitterness. Her adversaries are become the head. Her enemies are at ease, for the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her young children are gone into captivity before the adversary. And gone is from the daughter of Zion all her splendor. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture. They are gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembers in the days of her affliction and of her anguish all her treasures that she had from the days of old. Now that her people fall by the hand of the adversary, and none doth help her, the adversaries have seen her, they have mocked at her desolations. Jerusalem hath grievously sinned, therefore she is become as one unclean. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. She herself also sighs, and turns backward. Her filthiness was in her skirts. She was not mindful of her end. Therefore is she come down wonderfully. She hath no comforter. Behold, O Lord, my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her treasures, for she hath seen that the heathen are entered into her sanctuary, concerning whom you didst command that they should not enter into your congregation. All her people sigh, they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for food to refresh the soul. See, O Lord, and behold how abject I am become. Let it not come unto you, all you that pass by. Behold, and see if there be any pain like unto my pain, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. From on high hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgression is impressed by his hand. They are knit together. They are come up upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fail. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, against whom I am not able to stand. The Lord hath set at naught all my mighty men in the midst of me. He called a solemn assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden as a winepress the virgin, the daughter of Judah. For these things I weep. Mine eye runneth down with water, because the Comforter is far from me, even he that should refresh my soul. My children are desolate, because the enemy hath prevailed. Zion spreadeth forth her hands. There is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob, that they that are round about him should be his adversaries. Jerusalem is among them as one unclean. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his word. Hear, I pray you, all you people, and behold my pain. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders perished in the city, while they sought them food to refresh their souls. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My inwards burn. My heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaveth, at home there is the like of death. They have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble, and are glad, for you have done it. You will bring the day that you have proclaimed, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before you, and do unto them as you have done unto me for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Let's go back up to verse 1. We're starting this book of Lamentations this morning. This book of Lamentations is written by Jeremiah, this one whom God appointed. He was crying now. What these Lamentations is a mournful expression of sorrow, and it even in prayer, because these are prayers. Each one is an individual prayer and requires a pause at the end of each one of these verses. And if you're in the at the JPS version, you will see in the left-hand script over there that there is a symbol at the end that tells us to pause, because each one requires a moment of reflection. And so we won't be pausing there, but what we'll be doing is reading these and trying to get the understanding, because when one is praying and one is in this lamentation, or this mood of mournful expression of his guilt, or his prayer of supplication, this prayer to a favor that he asks for, we're going to find that we're trying to put ourselves in that same seat there, but we're going to be listening, because there's actually a conversation going on in the book of Lamentations between God and Israel. Verse 1. How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow, she that was great among the nations, and princes among the provinces? How is she become tributary? We start now with a series of these statements, and these are statements and questions at the same time. How does the city sit solitary? This city that we're talking about is Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is being used as an example now, even of all of Israel, because Jerusalem, God tried to teach Jerusalem and make these things known, showing that he was bringing everything down around it, crying constantly now with the prophets, sending him before and often, saying, turn. And now Jerusalem has been taken, Jerusalem has been seized. And how has it happened? How has she become a widow, like a widow, one who's lost her husband? See, one who, that her husband's been taken away, that was great among the nations. This one, even, that God had blessed greatly and brought up to the height of understanding, and the princes among the provinces. This one, even, she had a great king and all these mighty ones, even among all the other nations all around. See, they had these princes in every province. But now she has become tributary, or enslaved, so to speak, brought into servitude and forced to pay tribute. 2. She weeps sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. She hath none to comfort her among all her lovers. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. She, once again, we're not talking about a woman, and what we're doing is referring to this feminine. See, because what God has done, he has brought man down as a woman. See, just like a woman, not saying that a woman's less than a man, but what God has done is he has stripped him of his masculinity. He is no longer this great and mighty one that he thought he was, but now he has to sit like, just like, similar in similitude of this similar fashion, how men tend to exert force over women. See, so this is what it is. The man was the feminine in the beginning, and the Word of God the masculine. But man, what he did was he perverted this, and he took on the masculine role, and caused the word to serve under him, making it the feminine. And this is what has to be reversed. See, there's supposed to be a balance here. See, God made you for the helper, not he to help you. See, we're supposed to be helping God. You're supposed to be helping God spread this word. God's not supposed to be helping you in your distress. 3. Judah is gone into exile because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the nations. She findeth no rest. All her pursuers overtook her within the straits. Judah, those are praisings, are gone into exile. They've been forced out. See, they've been run out of Judah. They've been run out of that place of praisings even. God has done it. See, God has forced them over into affliction. God is doing these things because of great servitude. Because, why? Well, we're going to find out the sins of Judah, the sins of Israel were all the same. They was causing the people to serve in ignorance under idolatry. She dwelleth among the nations. She finds no rest. All her pursuers overtook her within the straits. And she dwells among the nations, just what God said he was going to do, see. He was going to scatter them out, bring them under this, and this is what happened. And this is what happened. She finds no rest. There is no rest. Why? Well, the great city, see, these great understandings of God were stripped away, taken away. See, and the enemy came in and to inhabit these high places, even these places of understanding the Word of God that he gave in the beginning. See, and there she is. She dwells within these straits. These are the punishments of God. And when her enemy seen that she was being punished, they did take great advantage of it. 4. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn assembly. All her gates are desolate, her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she herself is in bitterness. This Zion, see, that Zion is that parched place. It's that post that God set there from the beginning. It's the house of Levi, and that's what it represents. Even the Levites, how they was given in the beginning over this to make sure the truth went forth, to make sure they had understanding of the law. See, instead of to take and exact on the people for their own gain, and that's what was going on. That's what Eli's sons did. See, and that was the great sin. And Eli seen it, and he allowed it. See, and that's the servant that's been trying to learn the lesson. This is what happened. Everything has to be put back in order. All her gates are desolate. These gates, where they entered in, and what is that? These are the laws of God. These are the gates. These are the places you enter through these understandings. And her priests sigh. Why? Because God's taken all the understanding away. Her virgins are afflicted. These virgins are daughters that are born from the understanding of man, that have not known man, that have not went in and been polluted. All of them are afflicted. And she herself is in bitterness. And that's this herself, because we're talking about this daughter of Zion, even this virgin daughter of Zion. This one who's not known the understandings of men. That's who we're talking about. She's been afflicted. Just a child. 5. Her adversaries are become the head. Her enemies are at ease. For the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her young children are gone into captivity before the adversary. Before her adversary, her enemies, these ones God sent in to punish, to afflict. See? Because of why? Her transgressions. Her transgressions. They allowed this affliction. They allowed these ones that was taking this position to oppress for gain, for their own gain, for their own want, for their own desire. This was for the work of God. This was devoted. You can't take of it. Only the priest can handle these things, or there's problems, and we find out these problems, because of their disorder, have been caused much suffering in the earth. 6. And gone is from the daughter of Zion. All her splendor, her princes are become like harts that find no pasture. They are gone without strength before the pursuer. See, and they run and they flee. This splendor, all her splendor's gone, all her princes, this greatness, all this mightiness. God has come in and punished, see, because of the sin, because the allowance of sin. That's the problem. That's the example God's been trying to make from the beginning. You cannot allow sin. You cannot allow and have violation of the law and have understanding of God. And all the splendor's gone, see, and there's no understanding left in the earth, and all these enemies, they have come in now, and we're going to find out they are trampling the courts of God. God give them great strength. God give them this ability to come in and trample. 7. Jerusalem remembers in the days of her affliction and of her anguish all her treasures that she had from the days of old. Now that her people fall by the hand of the adversary, and none doth help her, the adversaries have seen her, they have mocked at her desolations. And now Jerusalem, that city of peaceful teachings, remembering in the days of her affliction and of her anguish all her treasures. See, now that God's taken these things away, we remember, we have understanding, we're calling to remembrance all these great things that God used to profit, God used to prosper thereby, that she had from all the days of old. All these great understandings even of that period of time. Having understanding of the law, having knowledge of the law, see, bringing up the children in the law, bringing up understanding in the law, so that understanding could continue and go forth. There's none to help her. Nobody can help her. Why? Well, God has done these things. Her adversaries have seen her. They understand her nakedness, but one thing they don't have is understanding. They have mocked at her desolations. They make fun of, they copy. See, they copycat and they mock with it. 8. Jerusalem has grievously sinned, therefore she has become as one unclean. All that honored her despise her because they have seen her nakedness. She herself also sighs and turns backwards. Jerusalem, that place of peaceful teachings, we're going to find out. See, she has grievously sinned, greatly sinned. Therefore she has become as one unclean. God made it as one unclean. All that honored her despise her. Why? It used to be that magnificent, mighty city, this great understanding, this Jerusalem, all these peaceful teachings that were great and mighty, and it was ruling. It was obedience to the law, understanding of the law, observance of the statutes and ordinances of God. See? Because they have seen her nakedness, though, she herself sighs. And she, seeing these things, after she's been afflicted, understanding that God has made known her sin, God has made known these things, her nakedness has been uncovered, we'll find out. Because why? God has exposed the sin. And what was the sin? Idolatry. Idolatry. Imputing words of God, these things that belong to God. That's God's gold. You don't just sit there and give it off to someone else. 9, her filthiness was in her skirts. She was not mindful of her end. Therefore she is come down wonderfully. She hath no comforter. Behold, O Lord, my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. Her filthiness was in her skirts. This in reference to idolatry. See, idolatry. She was not mindful of her end. And Jerusalem was that place of peaceful teachings. They was bearing the brunt of the load for Zion. See, being punished because of the sin even that Zion committed and this example that would be made. But behold, O Lord, look down and see my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. They have seen this, and they have come against me, thinking, aha, he is brought down. How can he ever stand back up? 10. The adversary has spread out his hand upon all her treasures, for she has seen that the heathen are entered into her sanctuary, concerning whom you did command that they should not enter into your congregation. The adversary are the enemy, these ones that God has sent in. It was Babylon, it was confusion, has spread out his hand upon all her treasures. All these good things, all these goodly things that God had give to Jerusalem, to that place of peaceful teachings, to Zion, all these goodly understandings that God had give. See, the enemy has spread their hand on them. They have made them part of their work, and the heathen have entered into the sanctuary of God. And we're going to find out, God said, you shall not enter into there. You shall not enter into there. Why? You have to be made clean. You have to have understanding. You have to be taught and washed and made whole before you can enter into congregation. See, this is in the law, and it is the law. All her people sigh. They seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for food to refresh the soul. See, O Lord, and behold how abject I am become. All her people are sighing. They're seeking bread. They're looking for substance. They're looking for understanding. See, the same thing that was going on in that city, we'll see going on today. God making another example, just like he said he's going to do. It's not a good thing, see, to be starving for the Word of God, to be thirsting to death for understanding that comes from God. That's not a good thing. That's a dry, desert place, and starvation, and the jackals are there, and they're all about. But see, we have understanding. We have water. It's the law of God, see, and it's that's what's going to come right out of the rock, and the manna that feeds you. This is all in the law of God. This is your understanding. This is your wisdom. This is your knowledge. That all these pleasant things have they sold for food to refresh their soul. All these things they can't sell these things. They're not for sale. See, you can't give these things over. These things come from God. But they try to find ways to refresh their soul. We'll find out they've been taken in a snare, and this is called the greed of the world. All these things that are not real, that are the delusions of men. See, O Lord, and behold, how abject I am become, how abject, how humbled and brought down, how my apology, this apology that goes forth in my humility and my humbleness, this and what we're talking about is seeing my own sin, turning from my own sin. This is what it is. 12. Let it not come unto you, all you that pass by. Behold and see, if there be any pain like unto my pain, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord has afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. Let it not come unto you. Let it not come on unto you, all you that pass by. These are the ones that could look and see what God had done to that magnificent place that he had created, that he had put his name. See there? Is there any pain like unto that pain where God has made bare, where God has stripped down and made known, punished, and the city that was great is just left empty, desolate? Now you see how the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger, and this that is speaking. This is literally Judah. Israel as a whole See, mournfully crying unto God to see their affliction, that you might see this affliction that God brought them under, see, because we're going to find out, see, this is the same affliction all the world's going to know. 13, from on high hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevails against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. God did that, see. From on high hath he sent a fire into my bones. This fire, the law of God and the understanding of it. And it's devouring my soul. And it prevails against them. What? My understandings. It's prevailing against my essence. It's crushing my bones. It hath spread a net for my feet. It's taken me. Because I know I have sinned against God. The law tells me so. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. Gone into affliction, gone into punishment because of sin. 14. The yoke of my transgression is impressed by his hand. They are knit together. They are come upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fail. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, against whom I am not able to stand. This yoke of my transgression, that yoke, that which I made for myself through the sin, this sin that is impressed, and it's by the work of God. See, God did it through the judgment of his law, making my sin, knitting it together, causing it now to pull on my neck. He's going to make me pull with it. He's going to make me pull with it. It's going to become a load upon me. He hath made my strength to fail. He has made me weak under that load. The Lord has delivered me into their hands, and we're going to find out that was the hands of idolatry, the hands of sin, the hands of his enemy, these that don't have no understanding, that can come in and prevail against you, whom I'm not able to stand. God has made the enemy mightier. See, but we'll find out. See, God stands up. God brings down, God stands up. See, then we turn from God, we are punished. And when we return to God, God is good in his mercies to forgive. After you bore your punishment, the Lord has set at naught my mighty men in the midst of me. 15. He hath called a solemn assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden as in a winepress the virgin, the daughter of Judah. Took her and trodden like a winepress, and that's like where you put these grapes in this giant barrel and you get in there and you crush them with your feet. See, that's what it's considered. He's trodden the virgin daughter of Judah. He's this virgin daughter of Judah, this one who hadn't known men. We're going to find out. See, that's what the virgin represents, this understanding that's not been polluted. He has trodden her down. The Lord has made it as nothing. All the mighty men, all these ones that had understanding great, God stripped it away. Remember, God said, this is what I'm going to do. I'll take knowledge and understanding away from all your priests and your prophets. Just like he said he was going to do, see? Because God declares these things, then God makes them happen. Called a solemn assembly against me to crush my young men. To crush these young men, this solemn assembly, well, this is the spirit of deception that came in. Then tricked those young men that didn't have understanding. They didn't learn the law. They went out in another way, and we're going to find out now. They've been crushed. God's crushed your young men. They don't have no understanding. They go out into the world to be slain by the lack of their understanding. And this is the winepress where the Lord trods them. See, and this is what's going on in all the earth. 16, for these things I weep. Mine eye runs down with water, because the Comforter is far from me, even he that should refresh my soul. My children are desolate, because the enemy hath prevailed. These things I weep, cry, mine eye runs down with water. Tears, and these tears are the tears of understanding, these tears of remorse. Because the Comforter is far from me, because God has removed himself. God didn't remove himself, though. I removed myself from God when I turned from the law of God. And God punished greatly even he that refreshes my soul. My children are desolate. My children are desolate, these ones that, this next generation that was going to come forth. Then all my hopes they're desolate. They're made desolate. They sit there being led off into captivity because the enemy has prevailed. These ones God sent in, this confusion, even God sent in. 17. Zion spreads forth her hands. There is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob that they that are round about him should be his adversaries. Jerusalem is among them as one unclean. Zion spreading forth her hands, this virgin daughter of Zion, this virgin daughter of the law of God, because no one has known the true understanding of God. No man can pollute the true understanding of God, because it destroys them before they do. Jerusalem is among them that is one and unclean, that city of peaceful teachings. See, because this was the perversion what man did. He went in and used them to his own gain. See, creating for themselves high, fat seats of rule and order, and the people go untaught. See, why? Well, there is no wealth in understanding. See, there's no gain in knowledge unless you keep it from everyone. 18. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his word. Hear, I pray you, all you people, and behold my pain. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. The Lord is just. See, the Lord is just. For I have rebelled against his word. I went against the law of God. I went against the understanding God gave me for my own good. Hear, I pray, all you people, listen. And behold my pain. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. God caused all my things to be carried off. God has caused me to be brought to this place. God has brought me under this. 19. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and mine elders perished in the city, while they sought them food to refresh their souls. I called for my lovers. They were all gone, all these ones that deceived me. My priests and my elders, they perished in the city. They had no understanding. While they sought them food to refresh their souls, while they was starving to death, they perished. 20. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My inwards burn. My heart is turned within me. I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaves, and at home there is like of death. Behold, look, see, O Lord, I am in distress, and my inwards burn. You have punished me greatly. My heart is turned within me. I have gone backwards. I have grievously rebelled. And abroad the sword bereaves. This sword, this punishment from the law of God, this word that went forth in judgment. It went forth to bless. But when there was no observance, it became judgment. At home there is like unto death. There's no understanding. There's no place to turn. 21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble, and are glad, for you have done it. And you will bring that day that you have proclaimed, that they shall be like unto me. They have heard that I sigh, that I cry out. There is none to comfort me. There is none to give to me understanding. There is none to offer me knowledge. All my enemies have heard of my trouble and are glad. Gathered themselves together to punish, to destroy, to take what there is, to murder. But you have done it, Lord. You have brought me here. You have made me weak. You have done this. You will bring the day that you have proclaimed. You will do the things that you have said, and they shall be like unto me. See, that day when God turns it around, see, that day when God flips this back over, and they're on the bottom. See, they're on the bottom. Why? For their transgressions, for their sins, see, because they did not hear, they did not listen. 22. Let all their wickedness come before you, and do unto them as you have done unto me, for all my transgressions, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. My heart is faint at the point of dying, at the point of giving up. At that moment, see, God hath brought down, God has caused the bars to wrap around this place of captivity, this death. And the enemy has come in. They have brought me down, made me for a prey, that they can steal my soul, that they can take from me all that I have, any wealth, anything, and cause me to toil and labor for understanding. But that turning, that day of turning, see, that day of turning, that we turn in our understanding to God and to the understanding He gave us, and to the wisdom and the knowledge He gave us in the beginning. Because for our own good did He give it. See, in humility, this moment we turn and God forgives, see, now we are made strong and our strength returns. So turn and return. Let's move on to chapter 2.